Hey folks, it's News in a Flash, Northmeister here for Northmeister's Round. It's been a couple days. I'm going to try to get a video out every day for you to give you my musings of my opinions on the news items of the day, and sometimes it will be on paranormal or supernatural subjects as well. Um, so a few things to go over today. The first thing to go over is Mexico is the tariffs are working. So President Trump's strategy and the use of tariffs are working. Mexico agrees to send 10,000 troops to the border to avoid tariffs, and he's given them 1 month to comply. So that's good news. That'll help us in stopping any further invasion of our country. The second thing is that Panama kicks out the Chinese companies that were running the canal. That's also good news. I haven't heard anything further on Panama. There might be more. I would suggest you check it out, and I will check into it as well for tomorrow. Um, the third thing is that Trump is scheduled to speak to Trudeau, Canada. Again, I haven't heard anything on the Canadian side. They're being a little bit more reluctant to do anything. They threaten us with further tariffs. Canada, uh, you will be heard more by our tariffs than we will be by yours. Trust me. So something needs to be done there. The next thing is that in regards to, let me see, I was going to cover this. Greenland. Vice President Vance says that we could control Greenland no matter how much the Europeans scream. Greenland is something I think that's a strategic asset. I think we should need to work something out there. I think it should become a part of the United States, to be honest with you. We can certainly people it. We can certainly extract its resources. We have the money and the know-how and the technology to be able to do all that. Denmark doesn't. The next item is Trump ends USAID. And what USAID is a program through which money that was allocated by Congress to foreign nations uh, is put into USAID, and USAID just kind of dishes it out, or it goes to USAID. Well, Trump looked into the system, had Musk look into it, and Musk calls it a criminal organization. So that tells you something. And then Trump has been, of course, informed about that, and he calls them a bunch of radical lunatics. In relation to that, Zelensky has said in an interview that he only got 75 billion of the 177 billion that was sent to him in the Ukraine. Where's the rest of the money? Either Zelensky has done something with it, or that money went somewhere else, and that needs to be investigated. Congress needs to get its act together on that and see where our money went to that was sent to the Ukraine. It's supposed to be helping Ukraine fight the war and all the other things that they had as their objective. Um, yeah, a lot of money has disappeared, over $102 billion, if my figures are right. 7,500 have been rounded up so far, at least is the latest results, and raids across the country again to get rid of the criminal illegals. They're basically all criminals, but the ones who have been proven to, who have committed further crimes since they came into the country. These are really bad figures. They also, Guantanamo Bay, they're preparing over 30,000 beds for those who won't be taken by their home countries. Those are both good programs. We need to clean the country out. We need to regain control of this country. America is back. The golden age is here. Now, Trump has said in regards to the tariffs issue that the European Union is next on the list. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, tariffs helped us build this country. We had up to 45% tariffs that Lincoln put on products during the Civil War that pretty much remained untouched. Here, a few things done here and there for the entire rest of the 19th century, the 1800s. During that time frame, America built itself up into one of the strongest nations upon the face of the earth. We did this with the work of our people, of course, but we did this with the use of tariffs. We protected our industries. We used strategic tariffs sometimes to lower them to have some competition, and we built up all these robber barons. And of course, we had to deal with later, but um, America became very prosperous because our internal markets are well under, were the least regulated in the world. We didn't overregulate them like the Europeans did, and our external markets were controlled. This is how you build prosperity. The Chinese know this today. The Japanese knew this after World War II. The Germans, of course, knew it after World War II. So they used their social market, which is probably a better model than just not regulating at all. the internal market, but they used their social market together with trade tariffs to build up the German industry after World War II, and they became a very prosperous West Germany. Today, of course, they've abandoned a lot of their principles. The Christian Democrats, who the party that believes in that, um, to allow migration in and all that other nonsense. Hopefully, the AFD, the Populist Party, there will reestablish not only their social market system, which seems to be a pretty good system, pretty good compromise between employers and employees, and how the system works, but also between regulation and non-regulation for internal markets, but also a really good system that they had in place to protect their industries, protect their national gems, the companies they don't want foreigners to overtake. They want Germans to be able to own them, and to create a general sense of prosperity. They're the most prosperous country in Europe. And they did this through that system. Now, the French also had their own system called dirigism, if I'm pronouncing it right. They were pretty prosperous too. They had their glorious years under de Gaulle, so they did really well. They did it through a lot more state intervention. The Germans, I would argue, with their social market, probably did a better job. But you can see how government intervention together with trade tariffs, as long as it's not overdone to the degree that the socialists want, which is to have government take over industries and things like that. The British did it the wrong way. The Labour Party came into power after World War II, and they just took over the steel industry and this industry and that industry. This was the socialist method. The Germans didn't do that, and the French didn't do that. French invested in their industries, yes, and sometimes they had to take a few over here and there, but they invested in them and they created prosperity for their nation under de Gaulle. The Germans under I think it was Adenauer was their original prime minister, and the Christian Democrats after World War II um, made it so that workers would have a greater say in industry, and they made the union strong and this and that to give German workers better pay, but at the same time they protected their industries. So they did the right things as well. But anyway, kind of got off track there. But this is what America should be doing today. Now, Trump is doing the right thing by deregulation, by getting around these erroneous regulations that don't help industry, don't help America, doesn't help the worker, especially the environmental ones, which are based in a new religion that everybody who has abandoned Christianity essentially, and who no longer has faith in Jesus, or who no longer has faith in Muhammad and Islam, and secular people that claim that they're atheists, they have a new religion. It's called Greenism, if you would, and they do it through the Green New Deals. Uh, they do it by calling you a denier if you don't believe in their nonsense. And they say, oh, it's all scientists believe that this is true, but it's not. That's not true. Science is based on the scientific method. You have to prove things each time. There's no proof for what they claim. And they claim that man is creating climate change. That's basically what it comes down to. And man is creating climate change with the evil devil called carbon. You release carbon into the environment and you're going to destroy the world. Well, you know what? That's just not true. There's no proof of that. In fact, they've done ice core samples to basically prove the opposite. There were times when carbon was much higher on Earth, and we didn't have warming events. And they've also uh, there's a lot of evidence, and I'm not a scientist, okay, so just take this for what it is. There's a lot of evidence that I've read that shows that the sun, and the cycles of the earth cause climate change. That makes more sense. But they want you to believe in their religion that man is causing it, so they have to do all these things by government in order to stop us from destroying the earth. And that's their basic message. That's their hell. That's their devil. Their devil is carbon. And we human beings who emit carbon every time we talk better stop talking and we better restrict our speech. What a bunch of idiots. But anyways, I'm getting off track with some of this stuff. So let me just keep going with some of the news here. But you can see where I'm coming from with this woke nonsense. Wokeism and the left wing movements of the world were good movements when they were truly progressive, and where they focused on worker rights and improving the workplace and creating a greater balance between employer and employee. When that was their focus, they did the right things. They advocated for the right things for their people. In fact, there was one time when the Democratic Party was opposed to illegal immigration because they knew that it hurt people in the poorer communities keeping their jobs and it lowered their wages and it lowered their standard of income and all that. But they were taken over by wokeism, by the 1% of the population who wants to cross dress, by the 1% of the population, or it's actually higher than that, um, that just wants to force down your throat their style of living when either your religion or your natural instincts tell you that you don't want it, that you don't want that forced down your throat. You're a free man, free woman, and you'll believe as you want to believe. Oh, excuse me. But anyways, the next thing here is so yeah, the EU is next on the tariff list for Trump. Um, they're abusers of trade. They have a trade surplus with us. We need to balance that out. This is where I kind of went off the mark with the tariff thing. So Trump's on the right track with the tariffs. Now, if any of these countries or groups or unions decide that they just want to challenge us even more, just keep tariffs, raise them even higher. Because you know what? That's how America was built. So it'll work either way for us. We have the know-how, we have the manpower, we have the intelligence to tell them to stick it. Some nations don't, but we do. Um, South Africa has been criticized by Trump. About time, about time for their racism. Excuse me. He's cutting off in foreign aid to the South Africa because South Africa has a racist law called the land confiscation law that allows the government to take land if you're white. So basically, what's happening in South Africa is that the whites who, through their apartheid system, were enforcing racist laws, holding people behind who were black and separating people rather than giving people the choice. So you had that. That was overturned in, I think, the 1990s. And so they began a world of kumbaya where everybody was supposed to get along. Well, that was not the case. Especially after Mandela passed away, and he was kind of holding things together down there. Uh, the African National Congress and the people that control that civilization, the blacks basically now, they decided to take revenge upon the white people down there by raping their women, by taking their land, confiscating their properties, and everything else. And it's just wrong. It's as wrong as what was done the other way. Um, they're just not living well together, and it's horrible. A horrible situation is going on down there, and the whites are being abused, and that's racism too. And so Trump has called them out for that, and we'll see where that leads. Um, Now there were two plane crashes. The DC plane crash. We know a lot more about that now. A military helicopter slammed into a commercial flight and brought it down. It was piloted by a female um, pilot. We don't know much about them right now, but I'm sure people will dig into her past to see if everything was upright. I'm not saying it isn't or it is, but there are some that are speculating that she was DEI type of promotion, and of course we know where that leads, but we don't know. Um, so we're pretty much at the end of the news today. Oh, the other one was Philadelphia. I'm sorry, I'll tell you. So in the Philadelphia situation, you had something. You see some of the pictures of it. You had a device come down like it was a missile, and we know it was a plane. Nobody knows what's going on with that yet. They're looking to the recording device that is the black box that's in every airplane and so on, and hopefully they'll find out more stuff about that. The last thing I want to end on is something I very much strongly believe in. President Trump signed an executive order that shall end racial and gender indoctrination in our schools. This is something that's been going on that a lot of the older people don't know about, but found out about during COVID when they started having to do the home teaching stuff because of COVID. So basically, what it is that he's targeting schools specifically. They're indoctrinating our children with their uh, critical race theory, which is nonsense. Anything that is critical in front of it is Marxist. It was brought here from Austria and Germany. Basically, the people that Hitler kicked out, they came here. They were a very abusive school of Marxism. They basically wanted to undermine society, civil society, in order to bring it down so that they could have their communist utopia. That was their whole plan. That's how they chose to tackle it, rather than going at it directly. and they came here to America to do their damage. And they did their damages at our universities. So anything that has critical attached to it, and they force lawyers to go through this, it's basically just Marxist garbage. But anyways, so this executive order I 100% believe in. It's about time. Again, along with the South African thing, it's meant to end anti-American ideology in our schools. Certainly, when I went to school, I was not taught anti-Americanism. In second grade, we sung "My Country 'Tis of Thee" every morning. We said our Pledge of Allegiance throughout, all the way up to grade 12. We respected the flag. We weren't perfect, but we weren't taught anti-American history. You know, so so this is just in wokeism. So it's combating wokeism. It's fighting anti-Semitism. There's a lot of anti-Semitism on our university campuses. Anti-whiteism and anti-Semitism are pretty much one and the same thing nowadays. Where there's this group of people who, because you're not brown or you're not Muslim or you're not whatever or you're not pro-Palestine or whatever, in their eyes, they're going to call you um, they're going to be anti-Semitic. They're going to say anti-Semitic things. They're going to say anti-white things. They're going to be against white people. They're going to be against Jews. This is a bad problem for the country, and you see a lot of that in our college campuses. Promoting, so what he's trying to do with this executive order is promote our civil rights laws of 1964, which needs to start being done. If you do that, you can get rid of a lot of this stuff, um, including parental rights. Parents have a right over the education of their children, and that's right in the 64 Civil Rights Act. Um, I forget what title it is, but it's in there. And he also needs to protect little girls so they can have sports programs in our schools, um, equal to boys programs that have boys come over, claim transgenderism, and win all the rewards because of biological differences. So that's some of the news that we have for today. That's uh, all that's there for now. Glad to chat with you a little bit today. It went a little bit longer than normal, 17 minutes it looks like. But there's a lot of news out there, a lot of stuff I hadn't covered in a while. And America is in a golden age. I think we're on the up and up. I think Trump's doing a lot of great things. It's going to take a while to get things transformed around, um, to get the tariffs to work for us in the way that we want them to work. Uh, but believe me, I think we're on the right course. So until tomorrow, enjoy the rest of your day and have a great day, folks.